Hello, I'm Peter Van Duzen, and this is a special presentation on CPAC, the Cable Public Affairs Channel. We're taking you live to Parliament Hill now for the installation, the swearing in of Canada's 28th Governor-General, David Johnston. This is the scene now in the Senate chamber on Parliament Hill. As you can see, invited guests have assembled and are assembling as we're just a few moments away now from the official part of today's installation ceremony, where David Johnston, who's still at this point the Governor-General designate, will officially take over from Michaëlle Jean as Canada's next Governor-General. I want to show you the scene just a few moments ago in Parliament Hill as David Johnston and his wife Sharon arrived just outside the Senate doors, the centre block here on Parliament Hill, as they made their way into the Parliament buildings, greeted by, you'll see, the Prime Minister and Mrs. Harper and the Leader of the Government in the Senate, Marjorie Le Breton, and the Chief Justice of the, oh no, there's Mrs. Harper, and you'll see once he makes his way inside. For this ceremony today, since he is the Governor-General designate, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Beverly McLaughlin, who is the Deputy Governor-General, will preside over this ceremony that will take place in just a few moments in the Senate chamber. And when the next part of this official program begins, and it's about to shortly, we will take you to that. But this is the 69-year-old former president of the University of Waterloo. He's been the president of McGill. He's widely known as a constitutional and parliamentary scholar. He's done some work as a journalist. He's a lawyer. And he's a Harvard University graduate and former captain of the Harvard hockey team is David Johnston. And this, as I say, was just a few moments ago as he made his way in to the Hall of Honor on Parliament Hill, meeting the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, Peter Milliken. And then this was an interesting part of the ceremony here, where David Johnston added this personal touch to the ceremony today, and that was he had wanted, and you'll see in just a few moments, he had wanted to meet Canadians, 13 Canadians from each of the provinces and territories who presented him and his wife Sharon with roses, which later on you'll see in the ceremony will be left at the tomb of the unknown soldier. So after this installation ceremony ends, David Johnston will actually make a swing for the first time to the National War Memorial, where he will lay these flowers at the tomb of the unknown soldier. So this was the scene just a few moments ago. I want to take you live now. We'll go from this to the Senate chamber, and this is what's happening now. And we are just seeing the arrival of the woman that David Johnston will be replacing, Michaëlle Jean, who ends her 5-year term as Governor-General, and she's being saluted by those who've assembled in the Senate chamber as the ceremony there is set to begin in just a few moments from now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Major Colin, and I am pleased to welcome all of you here in the Senate chamber and all those Canadians watching the broadcast as we witness the installation of Canada's 28th Governor-General since Confederation, the direct representative of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Bienvenue à une cérémonie qui donne au Canada un nouveau représentant de la Reine et en même temps de la plus ancienne institution canadienne, la Couronne. Le gouverneur général investi aujourd'hui est le 65e à succéder à Samuel de Champlain dans un rôle et une nation en constante évolution. Canada is a constitutional monarchy in which Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, is head of state, and she is represented by the Governor-General at the federal level. We note with pleasure that we are joined today by Her Majesty's other direct representatives from across Canada. The Crown of Canada is truly the collective Canadian crown. À titre de gouverneur général, Son Excellence fait en sorte que l'espace institutionnel qu'il occupe soit plus que jamais un lieu de rassemblement, où le dialogue prédomine et où la parole des citoyennes et des citoyens est entendue. A few moments ago, the Governor-General designate, David Johnston and Mrs. Sharon Johnston, walked through the Hall of Honour here in the centre block of Parliament. They were greeted by 13 Canadians, each from a different province and territory, collectively representing the diverse nature of Canadian society, accomplishment and service. Each presented Mr. and Mrs. Johnston with roses, a symbolic gesture of welcome and expression of best wishes from the provinces and territories as they prepare to assume their new duties on behalf of all Canadians. Le gouverneur général encourage l'excellence. Il remet des distinctions honorifiques, des décorations et des récompenses nationales pour reconnaître les personnes qui ont fait preuve d'excellence, de vaillance, de bravoure et d'un dévouement exceptionnel à servir les autres, faisant ainsi honneur au pays. De plus, il joue un rôle capital dans la promotion de l'identité nationale en soutenant les valeurs canadiennes, la diversité, l'inclusion, la culture et le patrimoine. The Governor-General visits Canadians in every part of the country, is patron to young Canadians, to humanitarian endeavours, to service, artistic and sport groups, to name but a few. Thus, he encourages and celebrates our rich diversity, identity and collective pride. Le gouverneur général est également le commandant en chef du Canada, ayant la fonction essentielle de reconnaître le rôle important des forces canadiennes de Sa Majesté, tant au pays qu'à l'étranger. La gouverneure générale suppléante, également juge en chef de la Cour suprême, la très honorable Beverly McLaughlin, présidera les premiers instants de cette cérémonie. Dans un moment, nous accueillerons la gouverneure générale suppléante et M. Frank McArdle, ainsi que le Premier ministre du Canada, le très honorable Stephen Harper et Mme Laureen Harper. Mr. Kevin MacLeod, Usher of the Black Rod, personal attendant and messenger of the Sovereign, will be leading the procession that will also include the Honourable Noel Kinsella, Speaker of the Senate, and Mrs. Anne Kinsella, the Honourable Peter Milliken, Speaker of the House of Commons, the Honourable Marjorie Le Breton, Leader of the Government in the Senate, and the Honourable James Moore, Minister of Canadian Heritage. Please rise. Veuillez vous lever. Stay there.
Please be seated. The installation of a new Governor General is intended to officially mark his assumption of office. It is an historic event that is the most important state ceremony within Canada's constitutional and ceremonial structure. Dans un instant, le gouverneur général désigné, M. David Johnston, et son épouse, Mme Sharon Johnston, feront leur entrée, menés par l'huissier du bâton noir et accompagnés du chef d'état-major de la Défense, le général Walter Netinchuk, du sous-commissaire de la Gendarmerie royale du Canada pour la région du Nord-Ouest, Rod Connect, et le secrétaire du gouverneur général, Mme Sheila Marie Cook. A respected lawyer, academic and author, avid sports enthusiast and devoted father and grandfather, David Johnston has had an illustrious career that includes positions as Dean of Law at the University of Western Ontario, Principal and Vice-Chancellor of McGill University, and most recently, President of the University of Waterloo. A truly remarkable career and an even more remarkable record of service to community and country. Please rise for the official entry and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, O Canada. Veuillez vous lever pour l'entrée officielle et demeurer debout pour notre hymne national, Au Canada.
As we begin to witness this historic event, the installation of Canada's 28th Governor-General since Confederation, it is fitting that we pause for a moment of reflection. This will be led by the Most Reverend Terence Finley, retired Anglican Archbishop of Toronto. Archbishop.
Let us pray. Creator Spirit, we gather in this historic place to recognize an important moment in the narrative of our country and the Commonwealth as we gather to install David Johnston, a loyal Canadian, as Governor-General. We give thanks for this great country of Canada, for our sovereign Queen Elizabeth, for the Prime Minister and all those who are elected and appointed to offices of authority and governance. We pray that they will be endowed with gifts of sound judgment, integrity and justice in all that they do to benefit the common good of this country and the wider community of our global family. Today we ask especially for blessings on your servant David, appointed to the office of Governor-General of Canada with all the responsibilities, challenges, and opportunities that position brings. With his marvelous combination of gentleness, strength, and boundless energy, continue to endow him with gifts of wisdom, humor, discernment, and compassion for the diverse people of this vast nation. Care for Sharon and the family who will sustain him in his responsibilities. Give those who work with our new Governor-General a sense of purpose and good judgment. And may all of us, citizens of many faiths, work to bring hope and progress to a struggling world. Grâce à toi, Seigneur, et bénis-nous dans tout ce que nous faisons. And now, my friend, in the words of an ancient blessing, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace and courage in all that you do. Amen and amen.
Thank you, Archbishop. Les prestations des artistes que vous aurez le plaisir d'entendre aujourd'hui représentent les thèmes et les préférences de M. Johnston. Enfants et vie de famille, apprentissage et éducation, philanthropie et bénévolat. Fondée en 2004, la chorale Les Deux Rives réunit des jeunes de 9 à 12 ans de Gatineau au Québec et d'Ottawa en Ontario, des deux rives de la rivière des Outaouais. Elle interprète pour nous aujourd'hui une chanson qui parle de la force unificatrice de l'amour et du sentiment rassembleur qui nous anime aujourd'hui. Mesdames et messieurs, aimons-nous. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister of Canada, le Premier ministre du Canada, le très honorable Stephen Harper.
Monsieur Johnston, au nom du gouvernement du Canada et de tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes, j'ai l'honneur et le privilège de vous exprimer nos félicitations enthousiastes. Dans quelques instants, une fois que vous aurez prêté serment solennellement, vous occuperez la fonction la plus élevée et la plus ancienne de notre pays. Cette fonction remonte à celle qu'a occupée le gouverneur Samuel de Champlain au nom de la Couronne à Québec il y a plus de 400 ans. Canada has always been a monarchy, and it has always had a governor styled Governor General since Confederation. For Canada's monarch today, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Mr. Johnston, you will become her 11th Governor General, just as I am her 11th Prime Minister, and Madam McLaughlin, her 9th Chief Justice. Such constitutional milestones remind us all that Elizabeth II has reigned as Queen of Canada, our head of state, for almost 60 years. Her Majesty is an epitome of stability, continuity, and service, for which, as was evidenced once again during the most recent royal tour, she is held in great respect and affection by Canada and its people. Mr. Johnston, I know that you are conscious of all this, of the institution you will be called upon to represent and the sovereign who has graciously appointed you. And I do believe that in just over a year, you will take special satisfaction from leading Canadians in celebration of Her Majesty's Diamond Jubilee. En cette occasion historique, je me réjouis particulièrement de la présence de tous les autres représentants de Sa Majesté provenant de partout au Canada. Aujourd'hui, nous célébrons donc l'ensemble de la couronne canadienne, tout comme nous entendons vous rendre hommage pour les services que vous avez rendus et rendrez encore au magnifique pays qui est le nôtre. Je saisis aussi l'occasion pour remercier et féliciter votre prédécesseur, la très honorable Michaël Jean, pour son dévouement et son mandat exemplaire au service du Canada chez nous comme à l'étranger. Through her remarkable story, her extraordinary personal qualities, and her tenure in office, Michaël Jean has earned the lasting respect and gratitude of her country, and she will be remembered with affection and admiration. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour honorer un grand Canadien. David Lloyd Johnston représentera la couronne non seulement avec une intelligence remarquable, mais également un caractère exceptionnel. All through his life, David Johnston has been driven by the intense belief that service is not merely an option. It is a duty, an obligation of the heart that honor compels a man to accept. He holds it to be so, whether the beneficiaries are his large and devoted family, the institutions at which he has worked, the wider communities in which he has lived, or the country that he loves. And as he believes, so he has lived. We know this with certainty, because for the first time, an expert and nonpartisan advisory committee was entrusted with the search for a person in whom the important constitutional powers of this office and its dignified character could be well combined. From their inquiries, we are assured that many government agencies and business organizations have been strengthened by David Johnston's wise counsel, that the halls of academia have been enriched by his learning, and have acknowledged their debt through the granting of no fewer than 13 honorary degrees, and that his neighbours, in the widest sense of the word, have been favoured through decades of exemplary and often demanding public engagement. Compagnon de l'Ordre du Canada, David Johnston a mérité le respect de ses pairs et la reconnaissance de milliers de personnes. And while this son of Sudbury has an all-Canadian heart, I can't let this moment pass without mentioning that in his youth, he left his mark at one of the world's great learning institutions. In the early 1960s, he captained Harvard's hockey team and was twice elected first-team All-American. So I guess when it comes to hockey, the best All-Americans are actually Canadians. David Johnston is a true all-rounder. Mesdames et messieurs, je ne peux malheureusement énumérer toutes ses réalisations aujourd'hui. Elles sont trop nombreuses et diverses. Mais voici en quoi il est constant. Il incarne une éthique toute canadienne. Le Canada est une terre habitée par des gens qui ont mis de côté leurs origines diverses et décidé à partir d'une nature sauvage et sans pitié de se construire un foyer, une communauté et un pays, bénéficiant des libertés et de la protection de la couronne. By accepting our own responsibilities, by assisting those in need, and by working together, Canadians have built a society that is the envy of the world. Service to family and community sustains us, and service to country has shaped us, as we are reminded on every Remembrance Day. This tradition of service will carry our beloved country forward into the future. And tradition, ladies and gentlemen, is the rope that binds the generations, past and future, the threads that form the fabric of society. Sir, you have a great role to play as guardian of those traditions and all that makes our country great. Au nom de tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes, je vous remercie d'accepter cette fonction. You will be supported by your wife Sharon, upon whom the burden of office will also fall, and to whom will therefore be due a generous portion of our gratitude and affection. May you make it your first official duty to convey to Her Majesty a message of our enduring loyalty and the warmth reserved for her here in her Canadian home. And may the God upon whom we call to keep our land glorious and free lead you and inspire you in your service of Canada. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur le Premier Ministre. Thank you, Prime Minister. Since Confederation in 1867, the office of Governor-General has steadily evolved and become more distinctly Canadian, reflecting the realities of the Crown of Canada. The letters patent of 1947 gave increased form to the varied constitutional duties undertaken by the Governor-General in the name of the Sovereign. This delegation describes in detail the Governor-General's powers and responsibilities. The letters patent also require that this description be read in public when a new Governor-General is sworn into office. J'invite le secrétaire du gouverneur général à donner lecture du texte de cette commission royale signée par Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II, Reine du Canada.
Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, of the United Kingdom, Canada, and her other realms and territories. Queen, head of the Commonwealth, defender of the faith. To our trusty and well-beloved David L. Johnston, greeting. We do by this, our present commission, under our Great Seal of Canada, appoint you, David L. Johnston, to be, during our pleasure, our Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief in and over Canada, with all the powers, rights, privileges, and advantages belonging or appertaining to the office. Élisabeth II, par la grâce de Dieu, reine du Royaume-Uni du Canada et de ses autres royaumes et territoires, chef du Commonwealth, défenseur de la foi, à notre fidèle et bien-aimé David L. Johnston, salut. Par notre présente commission, sous notre grand sceau du Canada, nous vous nommons, vous, David L. Johnston, notre gouverneur général et commandant en chef du Canada, à titre immobile, avec tous les pouvoirs, droits, privilèges et avantages appartenant ou attachés à la charge. And we do hereby authorize, empower, and command you, as our representative, to exercise and perform all and singular the powers and directions contained in certain letters patent under our Great Seal of Canada, bearing date the 8th day of September in the year of our Lord, 1947, constituting the office of the Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief in and over Canada, or in any other letters patent, adding to, amending, or substituted for the same. Et par les présentes, nous vous conférons l'autorisation et le pouvoir, et nous vous enjoignons, à vous, notre représentant, d'exercer les attributions et d'observer les instructions contenues dans des lettres patentes sous notre grand sceau du Canada, en date du 8e jour de septembre de l'an de grâce 1947, constituant la charge de gouverneur général et commandant en chef du Canada, ou dans toute autre lettre patente comportant addition, modification ou substitution à cet égard. And further, we do hereby appoint that so soon as you shall have taken the prescribed oaths and have entered upon the duties of your office, this, our present commission, shall come into effect. Et en outre, nous décidons par les présentes qu'aussitôt que vous aurez prêté les serments prescrits et assumé les fonctions de votre charge, notre présente commission prendra effet. And we do hereby command, all and singular, our officers, ministers, and loving subjects in Canada, and all others whom these presents may concern, to take due notice hereof, and to give their ready obedience accordingly. Et par les présentes, nous enjoignons à tous et à chacun de nos fonctionnaires, ministres et fiaux sujets au Canada, ainsi qu'à tous les autres intéressés, de prendre connaissance des présentes et d'y obéir en conséquence. Given under our royal hand and under our Great Seal of Canada, this 3rd day of September in the year of our Lord, 2010, and in the 59th year of our reign. Donné sous notre signe royal et sous notre grand sceau du Canada, ce 3e jour de septembre de l'an de grâce 2010, 59e de notre règne.
The document just read, commissioning Mr. Johnston, is the cornerstone of today's ceremony, signaling our collective confidence and pride in his appointment as Governor-General and his ability to carry out his duties in a fitting manner. The Right Honourable Beverly McLaughlin will now administer the required oaths. La prestation des serments doit avoir lieu en présence des membres du Conseil privé de la Reine pour le Canada, composé des membres du gouvernement et d'éminents citoyens. Le greffier du Conseil privé, M. Wayne Waters, remet à la juge en chef du Canada le texte des serments.
Je lirai maintenant les sermons. I will now read the oaths of office. Vous, David L. Johnston, jurez fidélité et sincère allégeance à Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II, Reine du Canada, à ses héritiers et successeurs.
Je le jure.
Ainsi Dieu vous soit honnête. You, David L. Johnston, do swear that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors.
I do.
So help you God. Vous jurez de servir fidèlement et loyalement Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II, en qualité de gouverneur général et commandant en chef du Canada, et d'administrer à la justice de façon convenable et impartiale.
Je le jure.
Ainsi Dieu vous soit en aide. You do swear that you will well and truly serve Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in the office of Governor-General and Commander-in-Chief of Canada, and duly and impartially administer justice therein.
I do.
So help you God. Vous jurez de servir fidèlement et loyalement Sa Majesté la Reine Élisabeth II en qualité de garde du Grand Sceau du Canada.
Je le jure.
Ainsi Dieu vous soit en aide. You do swear that you will well and truly serve Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in the office of Keeper of the Great Seal of Canada.
I do.
So help you God.
Proceed. Thank you.
Le gouverneur général va maintenant signer le registre des serments que le premier ministre, la juge en chef et le greffier du conseil privé contresigneront.
Thank you.
The signed oaths will be kept in a Privy Council oath book as evidence that the new Governor-General has duly taken the oath of allegiance and the oath of office on this day. The oath book is entrusted to the Clerk of the Privy Council. This is the record of the Governor-General's solemn oath to serve Her Majesty and the people of Canada, preserved for generations of Canadians to come.
Thank you. Congratulations. You're going to do well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Le gouverneur général du Canada. Mesdames et Messieurs, le gouverneur général du Canada, His Excellency, the Right Honourable David Johnston, and her, ladies and gentlemen, the Governor General of Canada, His Excellency, the Right Honourable David Johnston, and Her Excellency, Mrs. Sharon Johnston. Please rise. Veuillez vous lever.
Veuillez vous asseoir. Please be seated.
Excellencies, National Chief Sean Atleo is a hereditary chief from the Ahousaht First Nation in British Columbia and was elected National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations in 2009. He will offer an invocation to bring inspiration and guidance to the Governor General as he begins to serve Queen and country. I now invite Chief Leo to offer the invocation.
Your Excellencies, I am Ayan Chet. I come from the Ahousaht Nation, west coast of Vancouver Island, part of New Toronto. As is the way of our people, on behalf of First Nations, also recognizing it's a great privilege for the Métis and Inuit, Indigenous brothers and sisters to be here for this momentous occasion. As has always been our way, we would like to offer up a brief prayer that will help send you off on this incredible journey that you're about to undertake. As we have done warmly for those who've served in this important post in the past. And I do so, Your Excellencies, not only for you, but also for your family, who are going to be taking this incredible journey along with you. Indeed, for all Canadians. Weka shoka hawa, weka shotla hawa, iya weka shoka hawa, iya. Weka shokla hawa, akunasi unwa, suwa suknas, klakshi inu chat hawa, klakshi iwaki dub ushmis, klakshi inna cha atuni hit, Weka shotla, weka shotla, hawa iya. And with this prayer, which is said by my people when embarking and leaving the shore, of course there will be times of uncertainty. But this is a prayer that is expectant of success. Expectant of success, expectant that this will be a safe journey, a joyous one for you and for your family and for indeed all Canadians. The relationship, of course, with the Indigenous peoples of these lands goes a long ways back. And as the Prime Minister was reflecting, so too do we reflect on the relationship with the Indigenous peoples. We think about the Covenant Chain, the wampum belts, the Royal Proclamation, and indeed the treaties. And in recent time, who could forget that moment when Métis, Inuit, and First Nations Indigenous youth performed so incredibly for the world at the opening ceremonies of the Winter Olympics, suggesting so powerfully that we've arrived at an incredible moment in our history, one that suggests that that's which the ancestors have left for us, this encouragement along a path of mutual respect and friendship, that we look forward to a day, a better day for our people. And I've already met some of your family here who have assured me that you indeed have in your heart all of us in mind. And so with that, I want to say thank you, and I want to offer up this drum, a gift from the Indigenous peoples of these lands, of our enduring friendship, something that we always remember, the sacrifices that have been made by all of our peoples. Particularly, we always acknowledge the veterans. And so with this gift, we want to thank you for accepting this incredible honor. And the Indigenous peoples, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis, we send you good wishes. We send you our prayers.
Thank you, Chief.
Excellences, pour commémorer cette cérémonie, le prochain artiste est un compositeur-interprète et conférencier motivateur originaire de Terre-Neuve et maintenant résident de Halifax, en Nouvelle-Écosse. Canada is a country created by people of diverse cultures who know that to build a country, one must set aside personal differences and reach out with a helping hand. In circumstances such as these, Canadians join together to help create something much greater than themselves. To quote our next performer, ties that bind us together, oh so strong, will live forever, even as time rolls on. Ladies and gentlemen, Paralympian and member of the Order of Canada, Mr. Terry Kelly, singing Ties That Bind.
There's a halo of mist surrounding the shore, and it welcomed John Cabot and the Vikings before, in search of a dream when they came on that tide. It's a history we cherish and share with our children with pride. When our fathers were young, they fished from the sea. They worked in the forest, they worked in the field. They sat round the fire and spun many a yarn, and created a culture that thrives on its own wit and charm. That bind us together, oh so strong. We'll live forever, even as time goes on. For those of us who wander those who stay behind. We're forever held together by the ties that bind. Through the valleys and hills, the old narrow gauge was laid with pickaxe, wheelbarrow, and spade. Though years have gone by since the bullets last rung, it's a part of the heart of each Newfoundland daughter and son. Ties that bind us together, oh so strong. We'll live forever, even as time rolls on. For those of us who wander and those who stay behind, we're forever held together by the ties that bind. There's a halo of mist surrounding the bay, and it welcomes the oilmen who come from away. A promise of hope on the incoming tide. Now a life and the future our children can look to with pride. That bind us together, oh so strong. We'll live forever, even as time rolls on. For those of us who wander and those who stay behind, we're forever together by the ties that bind. We're forever held together by the ties that bind. Ties that
Among his many duties, roles, and responsibilities, the Governor-General is responsible for the administration of the Canadian Honours System. Given that honours flow from the Crown, he grants many honours and awards in the name of Her Majesty the Queen that celebrate our achievements and exemplify our Canadian values. A new Governor-General is also awarded honours in preparation for the duties that he will undertake on behalf of Canadians and in the name of Her Majesty the Queen. Upon appointment, he receives honours and insignia of office as Chancellor and Principal Companion of the Order of Canada, Chancellor and Commander of the Order of Military Merit, Chancellor and Commander of the Order of Merit of the Police Forces, and as Head of the Canadian Heraldic Authority. J'invite maintenant le secrétaire du gouverneur général, Madame Sheila Marie Cook, et le héros d'armes du Canada, Madame Claire Boudreau, à présenter au gouverneur général les colliers de chancelier de l'Ordre du Canada, de chancelier de l'Ordre du Mérite militaire, de chancelier de l'Ordre du Mérite des corps policiers et de chef de l'autorité héraldique du Canada. These are the principal honours of the Canadian Honours System.
I am honoured to accept the colours of Chancellor of the Order of Canada, Chancellor of the Order of Military Merit, Chancellor of the Order of Merit of the Police Forces, and Head of the Canadian Heraldic Authority. C'est pour moi un honneur d'accepter les colliers de chancelier de l'Ordre du Canada, de chancelier de l'Ordre de Mérite militaire, de chancelier de l'Ordre de mérite des corps policiers et de chef de l'autorité héraldique du Canada. Merci. Thank you.
The Great Seal of Canada is a symbol of authority and authenticity that is placed on all state documents. Used on proclamations and commissions, it provides the formal sanction of the Crown to all such documents. The present seal dates back to the beginning of the reign of Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada. J'invite maintenant le registraire général du Canada, l'honorable Tony Clement, à présenter au gouverneur général le Grand Sceau du Canada. Le ministre est accompagné du sous-registraire général, M. Richard Discerny, et du greffier du conseil privé, M. Wayne Waters.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you. Thank you. J'accepte. Would you? Give it back.
Yeah, you read the things on it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Je confie à votre garde le Grand Sceau du Canada. I hand you the Great Seal of Canada for safekeeping. Voila. And it will be in safe hands.
Excellencies, arguably at ages 15 and 13 respectively, brothers Stanley and Kirsten Leong have already achieved excellence. They are award-winning musicians. Both have been featured soloists with the National Arts Centre Orchestra and other orchestras in Canada and around the world. They represent a bright future for the world of Canadian music. On this historic day, a brief moment of peaceful contemplation, of inner reflection. Mesdames et messieurs, le Passacaglia de Handel Halvorsen. Mesdames et Messieurs, le gouverneur général du Canada, Son Excellence le très honorable David Johnston. Ladies and gentlemen, the Governor General of Canada, His Excellency the Right Honourable David Johnston.
Thank you. Thank you. Prime Minister, Madam Chief Justice, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, isn't the music lovely and the children performing it? Service, whether it is to family, community, or country, is the highest, most noble of callings. I begin by saying thank you to Her Majesty the Queen, the Prime Minister, and the Canadian people for this call to service. My wife and I accept it with joy as we contemplate the role of Canada in the years ahead, and with gratitude at the opportunity to serve as the Queen's representative in Canada. Less than a month ago, Sharon and I visited Her Majesty the Queen and His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh at Balmoral, Scotland, for an amazing visit. And we were treated so warmly, like family. J'aimerais aussi rendre hommage à mes prédécesseurs, dont plusieurs femmes remarquables, comme la très honorable Jeanne Sauvé et la très honorable Adrienne Clarkson, qui ont suscité l'amour et le respect de toutes les Canadiennes et tous les Canadiens dans l'accomplissement de leurs tâches. Permettez-moi de féliciter chaleureusement, au nom de la population canadienne, le travail remarquable de ma prédécesseure immédiate, le très honorable Michael Jean. Enfin, je tiens à saluer respectueusement les femmes et les hommes des forces canadiennes. Je suis honoré de devenir leur commandant en chef. Je tiens à souligner les efforts déployés sans relâche par celles et ceux qui se trouvent à Terre-Neuve et Labrador pour aider à la reconstruction des communautés touchées par l'ouragan. As we look forward to celebrating our 150th birthday 7 short years from now, what will our nation look like? And how will we get there? Two Latin words capture our challenge succinctly. Contemplare meliora, to envision a better world. They mirror the motto of the Order of Canada. They desire a better country. To help us with our vision for 2017, turn back the clock 400 years to the first governor of what we now call Canada, Samuel de Champlain. David Fisher, the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, has written a book called Champlain's Dream. In it, he contends that Champlain was misunderstood. Champlain is remembered as a great explorer and a warrior. But Fisher portrays him as a man of peace, tolerance, inclusiveness, and innovation, and a builder of permanent societies. This was Champlain's dream for a new order in a new world. And so many of those characteristics are present in the Canada of 2010. Let me add that we lived in Montreal for 2 decades. We have come to love the French culture and language, and we consider them a national treasure. We are a smart and caring nation, a nation where all Canadians can grow their talents to the maximum, a nation where all Canadians can succeed and contribute. But there is much work to be done to fully achieve our vision of a smart and caring nation. I believe it is essential to support families and children, to reinforce learning and innovation, and to encourage philanthropy and volunteerism. Comme bon nombre d'entre vous le savent, j'ai passé une grande partie de ma carrière dans le monde universitaire. En tant que professeur et administrateur, j'ai eu le privilège de passer beaucoup de temps avec les étudiants et les étudiants, et j'ai souvent eu l'impression d'en apprendre de mes étudiants. Dans mon nouveau poste, j'aspire à rapprocher les générations. 3 piliers. Mon premier pilier sera de soutenir les familles et les enfants. J'aimerais vous parler un peu de ma propre famille. Tout d'abord, j'ai été le premier garçon à sortir avec Sharon lorsqu'elle avait 13 ans, au cours de sa première année au Sault Ste. Marie Collegiate Institute. 46 ans de mariage plus tard, elle est toujours ma meilleure amie, ma source d'inspiration et le vent dans mes voiles. Nous avons 5 filles, Deb, Allie, Sharon Jr., Jen et Sam, qui travaillent toutes au service du public. You know, when our children were young, people would say to me, oh, you have 5 daughters, sir. Don't you wish you had a son? And I would say, alas, sir, you have yet to meet my daughters. Tous les 5 travaillent tous au service du public. Nous avons 7 petits-enfants, nos petits miracles, qui nous apportent une joie sans borne. Tout ce que j'ai appris d'important dans la vie, je l'ai appris de mes filles. Aujourd'hui, je suis leur trace en me mettant au service du public à mon tour. We are looking forward to meeting Canadian families from all walks of life, all backgrounds, and hearing their stories about what Canada means to them and how they see Canada in 2017 and beyond. We are looking forward to meeting families with sons and daughters who've served in Afghanistan, and we join in the sorrow of those families whose loved ones have made the ultimate sacrifice in serving their country. Our veterans have paid heed to the call to service and have made our country proud, and my wife and I intend to be with them every step of the way. We are looking forward to meeting Aboriginal families and children and learning from them. We have much to learn from First Nations, Inuit, and Métis cultures, and we are excited about being able to share in this vital part of our collective history. And we are looking forward to meeting families who have chosen Canada as their home. determined to provide a brighter future for their children. We know that Canada will be one of the most diverse countries in the world by 2017, and I am firmly convinced that all of these families, no matter where they live or what their background is, will have more in common than not. Each family brings new patterns to the varied Canadian tapestry and enriches it by their presence. Second pillar, mon deuxième pilier sera de renforcer l'apprentissage et l'innovation. Nous voulons que toutes les Canadiennes et tous les Canadiens aient le même accès aux études et à la possibilité de réaliser tout leur potentiel. Ces possibilités doivent leur être offertes dans les deux langues officielles. Notre dualité linguistique est un atout précieux qui renforce notre nation. Les communautés francophones et acadiennes continuons d'innover et de trouver des moyens d'assurer l'essor du français partout au pays. J'ai hâte de rencontrer les Canadiennes et les Canadiens dans leur collectivité et d'apprendre d'eux. Anyone who has achieved any degree of success and been placed in a leadership position can point to dozens and dozens of teachers, mentors, and coaches who have made them better persons along the way. In my case, they number in the hundreds. And Prime Minister, you have bewitched me into a hockey story by your reference to it. One of these was the hockey coach at Harvard, Cooney Weiland, who had a grade 10 education from high school in Seaforth, Ontario. He was the first coach at Harvard not to have a Harvard degree. He never gave pep talks. He used to say it to us just before the game, boys, I don't have a high school education. You're at Harvard. If you've been listening to what I've been saying during the week, just go out and do it. And we did. When Cooney passed away, I had the privilege of being one of the ones who gave the eulogy at his service in the historic part of Harvard Yard Memorial Church. 400 places, overfilled, over half old hockey players, about half Harvard professors. And I remember saying, when the history of our civilization is written, historians will look back on this institution as one of the most powerful instruments for good in our society. Why is that so? It is because of outstanding teachers, and we honor one today, the hockey coach. During my term, I hope we will find ways to properly recognize our teachers who are responsible for our intellectual development. And if there is one trumpet call from my remarks today, let it be, cherish our teachers. S'il est une chose qu'on doit retenir aujourd'hui, c'est que j'ai toujours eu une grande admiration pour les professeurs et les éducateurs de ce pays que j'aime. As we consider our vision for 2017, I ask, can we have equality of opportunity and excellence too? I believe that no nation in history has worked harder than Canada to ensure equality of opportunity. Now, how do we square that with excellence as well? For me, the answer is through our public education system, which is the most inclusive in the world. How do we ensure accessible education for all so that all Canadians can realize their full potential? And how do we reconcile universal access with stellar achievement? And how do we continue to innovate in order to compete with the world's best? Innovation at its simplest is crafting a new idea to do things better. Innovation embraces both technological and social innovation. We want the same continuing commitment to excellence in our learning and research institution that we saw in our Canadian athletes who brought us a record 14 gold medals at the 2010 Winter Games. We need the kind of innovation that has made BlackBerry a household expression. Mike, continue on. We want to emulate our Olympic and Paralympic athletes by constantly striving for excellence in all that we do. We want to be the smart and caring nation, a society that innovates, embraces its talent, and uses the knowledge of each of its citizens to improve the human condition for all. And when we set our sights together, we can do better and inspire each other to achieve great things. Third pillar. Mon troisième pilier sera d'encourager la philanthropie et les bénévolats. Les Canadiennes et les Canadiens ont une longue expérience de solidarité et d'entraide. on constate facilement l'importance de la solidarité dans nos collectivités rurales, ainsi que dans les villes grandes et petites, comme dans celle où j'ai grandi, Sudbury et Sault-Ste-Marie. I see examples of this coming together in the farming neighborhood where we live. A Mennonite barn raising, with people gathering on the scaffold of a new barn, bringing their diverse talents and energy to help a neighbor in need. Barn building. I think of Rick Hansen, who this past March marked the 25th anniversary of the day he began his Man in Motion World Tour, and he continues to inspire Canadians everywhere. And just 2 weeks ago, millions of Canadians across the country came together to honor the spirit and the achievements of Terry Fox. And the 30th anniversary of his run underscores how Canadians have embraced his cause. In his introduction to his book, Terry, Douglas Copeland recalls seeing the thousands upon thousands of names of everyday Canadians in the Fox archives and writes, collectively, those names testify to something divine. Our nation, our home, and our soul. Les exemples de générosité et de charité abondent d'un but à l'autre du pays. Nous avons fondé nos familles en promettant de créer une vie meilleure pour nos enfants. Nous développons nos talents individuels avec énergie. Nous collaborons pour en tirer le maximum. Nous améliorons la santé et la prospérité de nos familles et de nos communautés de partout au pays, et nous nous soucions de nos voisins. Nous continuerons à susciter et à encourager l'importance d'édifier une nation éclairée et bienveillante. Une idée chère aux Canadiennes et aux Canadiens de tous les âges et de toutes les origines. 2017 will reinforce Canadians' sense of pride and engage all citizens. Service to country shaped us, service to family and community sustains us, and this tradition of service will carry us forward into the future. J'ai hâte de rencontrer et de servir les Canadiens et les Canadiennes dans leur collectivité. Je suis vraiment honoré d'accepter cette mission qui me tient à cœur. Dans son discours inaugural, mon prédécesseur général, le très honorable Georges P. Vanier, a conclu sur ces paroles. Dans notre marche en avant, jouissant du bonheur matériel, n'oublions pas les valeurs spirituelles dans la trame de notre vie. Pour que le Canada atteigne la grandeur qui lui revient, chacun de nous doit dire « Je ne demande qu'à servir ». Au Canada où nous travaillons ensemble, en mettant de côté nos différences et en tendant la main à celles et ceux qui ont besoin de nous, nous avons créé une société qui fait l'envie du monde. I see my role as a bridge in bringing people of all backgrounds and all ages together to create a smart and caring nation, a nation that will inspire not just Canadians, but the entire world. Let me end with a quote from George Bernard Shaw. Some people see things as they are and wonder why. We dream of things that ought to be and ask, why not?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, our ceremony is now drawing to a close. In just a few moments, Their Excellencies and the official party will depart the chamber. We kindly ask that you remain at your place until you are invited to join the reception to follow in the Hall of Honor. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, La Christchurch Cathedral Girls Choir est la seule chorale au Canada dont ses membres sont uniquement des filles. I now ask you to rise and join these young Canadian women in the singing of the royal anthem, God Save the Queen. Veuillez vous lever et joignons-nous à la chorale pour chanter l'hymne royal, Dieu protège la reine.
Great guy. We've been doing quite a bit of work on ocean. He's an expert. You're a good Scot with a name like that. You admit to it, do you? Oh, I love it. So am I.
Nous vous invitons maintenant à vous rendre dans le hall d'honneur pour saluer leurs excellences, le gouverneur général et Madame Johnston. We invite you to proceed to the hall of honor to greet their excellencies, the Governor General and Mrs. Johnston.
And the speakers, is Speaker Casella, so if you could stand next to Your Excellency and Speaker Logan, next to Mrs. Harper.
Kevin, where are you on what is signature next? Sorry? There isn't actually a line.
Just our signature here.
They have the signature card just to make sure.
Your Excellency, my role is playing messenger. There is a letter here from the guy which I would ask to this moment.
May I open it?
You may. It's a copy. The original is en route, but this is a copy.
Well, let me read it. Dear Governor General, my wife joins me in sending you our warmest congratulations as you take the oaths of office and assume your new responsibilities as the 28th Governor General of Canada. Having spent many years working with the voluntary sector, I also understand how hard it was to learn the cadence of your installation ceremony was a call to service. And my wife and I visited Canada last year. We were greatly encouraged to see for ourselves the way in which all campaigns of all levels of society are giving their time and energy in support of their local communities. This is in the best of Canadian traditions. I can only applaud your determination to shine a light on this vital area of activity. We hope that the opportunity to look forward to honor here in Canada and the United Kingdom. We know this brings you our proudest wishes and respect.
I believe your family is now assembled. Wonderful. Maybe next door, so thank you.
Back up. Watch the light camera behind you. Okay, that's good. So just wait here.
David Johnston is performing a task he was performing many times as Governor Johnston, Commander-in-Chief of the Canadian Forces.
Okay, Keith? Yeah, all right.
In honor of Canadians. Get over there, just watch some meeting right now, but we can't go up there.
Peter Van Dusen watching along with you as our live coverage of the installation of the 28th Governor General of Canada continues, and you see His Excellency David Johnston and Mrs. Johnston now in the landau that will take them down to the National War Memorial. You saw him, he just set them aside inside the carriage, the 26 roses that were handed to him and Mrs. Johnston at the beginning of today's ceremony by 13 Canadians. This was something David Johnston asked for. 13 Canadians representing the provinces and territories handed 2 roses each, one to Mr. Johnston, one to Mrs. Johnston. When they arrived on Parliament Hill, they will now carry that bouquet of roses from Parliament Hill as part of this ceremony down to the National War Memorial, where they will place them on the tomb of the unknown soldier. As we continue to watch these images, we've also been able to weave in some reactions from Canadians who are watching along with us across the country and their first impressions of the new Governor General. So let's go back to the phones briefly here as we stay with these images of the new Governor General and Mrs. Johnston making their way down to the National War Memorial. Let's go to Margaret, who's in Manitoba. Hi, Margaret. Thanks for waiting. What are your first impressions of the new Governor General?
Well, I think he's a very intelligent man, yet very humble. He sincerely seems to care about Canada, much like our now Prime Minister, and they're so similar in character that I feel that's probably why Mr. Harper chose Mr. Johnston to be our Governor General.
Now, did you know much about him before today?
No, I really didn't. I've seen him here and there, now and then, on media or in paper, but
right. And so you got to watch his speech.
Yes, I did.
And what did you think of the kinds of, I guess, the 3 pillars he referred to them, the kinds of objectives he has for the office of the Governor General, and the way he sees his role in many ways, he talked about transforming Canada, or certainly moving it along over the next 5 years.
Right. Well, we always have to move ahead, and I felt the 3 pillars he had were very similar to what our Prime Minister has in mind for our country, and I think they will work very well together, and I think they both have very strong feelings for this country and its people.
Okay, Margaret, thanks for your call.
You're very much.
Appreciate it. Now, I'll say, for those of you who may not have seen it or been able to hear that speech, when this part of our coverage wraps up here in just a moment, after we show you what happens at the National War Memorial, we will stay with it certainly for that part of the ceremony. There'll be a little bit of a break, I think, while the landau makes its way about 20 minutes or so to Rideau Hall, the official residence of the new Governor General. It's the residence of the Governor General. He takes up residence there today with his wife and some family members, and so David Johnston will make his way there. And when that happens, we'll be able to replay the speech for you. It's about 16 minutes long or so. We'll be able to do that in the next 10 minutes or so, so you'll have an idea of what it is he said if you weren't able to see it a little bit earlier on our broadcast. Back out to Manitoba, and Bob is waiting on the line. Hi, Bob. We're cycling through some calls fairly quickly here. What are your first impressions of the new Governor General?
Oh, well, our class thinks he seems like a very nice man, and we're very impressed. And the ceremony's been very exciting so far.
Well, what is it about him that impresses you? What is it you heard? What is it you saw that makes you believe he's the right man for the job?
Well, we're very happy that he's a Canadian who's represented us well, and he's a great hockey player. Oh, I think I hear myself on TV.
Yeah, are you a hockey player, Bob?
No, I really enjoy it, and just a second, our class would like to say that we're very thrilled.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks for the call. He's going to get a lot of the vote from the hockey players. David Johnston is, and an impressive, certainly collegiate hockey career at Harvard University as the captain of the team. And now a more solemn part of today's ceremony. They will leave this landau, and he will take a moment here to recognize and honor the sacrifice of the Canadian military, those who've given their lives in the name of this country. And he's making his way now to the tomb of the unknown soldier, where these roses will be placed. And a lot of Canadians who've been in the area stopped by at the National War Memorial site to express their congratulations to David Johnston. And that was David Johnston making his remarks in the Senate chamber just a little while ago here in Ottawa as part of the official, the installation ceremony today, as he officially becomes Canada's 28th Governor General, taking over from Michaël Jean, whose term ends this week, and David Johnston's begins. And you heard him talking about the kinds of things he wants to focus on as Governor General: bridge building, a big theme; a caring society, a big theme; and those three pillars he continually refers to support families and children, to reinforce learning and innovation, and to encourage philanthropy and volunteerism. And so let's look live now down at Rideau Hall, because you'll see the Guard of Honor, which is awaiting his arrival. And I think I can see in the distance, you see the landau are coming up the long. Well, this is looks like the lead of the procession. Mounties on horseback, and then motorized vehicles, and I think we'll see shortly after that the landau. Or that is the landau. Okay, leading that procession, and I'm told that as we see it arrive, just as it gets up here, if it hasn't happened already, and I believe it may have happened already, 6 of David Johnston and Sharon Johnston's grandchildren have taken the opportunity to join their grandparents in the landau for the last part of the journey up to Rideau Hall, where at this point in the ceremony today, and this is the conclusion of it, their Excellencies arrive at Rideau Hall. There's another royal salute and inspection of the Guard of Honor, and then they will enter the residence at Rideau Hall. And let's see, do we see the grandchildren riding along with their grandparents? Or I think I see their little heads popping up there, and can you imagine the thrill of that with Grandma and Grandpa, and Grandpa's the new Governor General of Canada, and there's a horse and buggy ride to top it all off up to the new official residence. And no doubt that there will be lots of life in that official residence over the next 5 years, with a couple with 5 daughters, 7 grandchildren, and there are 6 of them. So there will be lots going on in that household, that official household, over the next 5 years. Not sure that when people said David Johnston could have his hands full as a Governor General in a time of minority governments, he's certainly got his hands full now with those grandchildren in the landau. Well, I think the country's going to get used to this. He certainly focused on family and children in his remarks, and this is a visual testimony to the kinds of things you're going to see at Rideau Hall. Now, this is where it gets complicated a little bit. The Governor General has to take another royal salute here and inspect the Guard of Honor, and it might be a little bit tricky with a granddaughter on your shoulders.
I gotta move.